Okay, we are live. Welcome to Policy in Paradise, your TV program for policy advisors all over the world. Welcome, Miguel.
Hi, thank you, Rooney. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Nice you wanted to be in this first episode of Policy in Paradise, especially for policy advisors. Okay, we go right away. Miguel, who are you and what do you do?
I'm Miguel Goede. My brand is Miguel Goede 3.0. I'm a consultant, among others, program makers. I have a radio talk show. I'm a writer. My book is out there, Curacao 3.0. Basically, I'm an advisor for people who live in the boardroom.
Okay, great. And what is your relation with small island economies?
I happen to live in one of them. I travel a lot in them. I consult with them. I've studied my academic subjects are studied in small island development states. When I was at the university, I started a UNESCO chair on small island development states in the Caribbean to study small island developments in the Caribbean. So it has my interest, we can say.
Okay, and you live in Curacao. For the people out there in Bahamas, Bermuda, and Barbados, and also in Asia. We are right now on Curacao, and Mr. Miguel Goede lives on Curacao.
I live in Curacao, but via the internet we consult everybody who seeks our advice on small island development states.
Okay, great. Now, the next question I would like to ask is, describe how you handle information. For instance, how do you find new information? How do you store information? How do you organize information? And what are your challenges with information? So, first topic, how do you handle information in your day-to-day life?
Okay, as I've stated before, I'm a researcher, and research is a certain state of mind. Basically, I use the metaphor of being a camera, so I record everything. Everything is data, what you observe, what you read on TV, mails that come in. You're part of a network, so people you know start sending you in reports, things like that. And you are part of a society. People inform you what has been published recently. All those information you capture first in your head, then you seek some systems to drop them on your desktop if it's electronic information, but also programs. You drop them on your desktop, and in the morning when you start, or in the evening before you go to bed, you try to put them in certain folders with a certain logic. But the key is, what do you consider your primary data bank? And my primary data bank is my head, and my computer is to support what I capture in my head.
Mm-hmm.
So that's first. So I do not store information to look it up later. I try to record the information immediately.
Okay, great. Okay, so we continue.
But there is a slight detail that's important. I use an application called Google Desktop.
Okay.
Google Desktop, it's a free application. You can Google it and download it on your computer. What it does, it takes, depending on how much data is on your hard drive, it starts to process your hard drive, and it will take an hour or two. But after that, you can search your hard disk as if you were searching the internet, and
Okay.
it has the same velocity. So if I have, for example, a document that Rooney prepared on Paradise, I Google on the keywords Rooney Paradise, and it will give me all possible documents on my hard disk with those two keywords, and that's an application that helps a lot. So
Okay.
recapping, is store everything on your desktop once a day, put it in relevant folders, and when you think of something you have but you don't know exactly where to find it, so search it with Google Desktop.
Okay. One question regarding what you said, which is very interesting. You said you register everything, information like a camera. So I think that's one of the most important aspects of a senior, advisor. You say you see the world like everything is information. Yeah, so whether you are looking at a newspaper or other kind of things, you see that as your database. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes. Being a policy advisor is not a job, it's what you are. And it's not a job you start at 9 and you finish at 5. You're continuously in that role, and your camera is registering all the time. But there are a few tricks. At a certain time and at certain occasion, depending on the company you're in, for example, your private time, you just put on a different lens or you push on a different button on your camera. You still record, but you know in what mode you are, because it's not fair to your private life that you are 100% the policy advisor when you're in a family barbecue, for example. But it's not that you're not the policy advisor at that stage. Ideas come all the time. Another trick I have developed over the years, maybe I can illustrate it. Always have a piece of paper in your pocket. So if I get a piece of information, I write it down. It's an email, a URL, and at the end of the day, I will process the notes I've captured. So that's the way I go about getting new data, because basically what you're doing is looking for data. There's another thing that's important, Rooney. In your head, you have a framework where you file the information that comes in. You have a file ordiner in your head as well, and that's the one I manage best. And what's also important, you remember information only by filing it correctly in your head, but putting relationships with other issues you already are working on in your head. Another thing I told you prior to our conversation now is that you're working constantly on a big puzzle. So when you get a new piece of the puzzle, try to fit it in immediately. That's the best way to put it away.
Yeah. So if I understand you correctly, you're saying if you are working on a policy, on a big project, you are constantly working on that project, and everything you see, you relate that's a piece of the puzzle to show in. And the next thing, and the other thing you said is you have to file information correctly in your head and putting right relationship between them. But can you just explain that, filing information in your head? Can you give an example on that?
For example, we are working on this program. It has a content, it has a technology component in there are applications, so I'm registering what are the new applications I'm seeing today. So what new approaches are we seeing there? What's the content? I'm working on Society 3.0, this model we are launching today. What are the implications? Can I write a blog on it? Is this a chapter? So constantly
tagging information and putting in a right...
It becomes a habit, and it doesn't interfere with concentrating on what you're doing. And it's a second layer in what I'm doing, because mainly I'm engaged in this conversation with you, but subconsciously the brain is linking, filing everything.
Yeah. So I think for policy advisors, I would say you give good tips already. File information correctly in your head. Use that desktop, Google Desktop search to find information quickly, and register the world, like a camera. So if you are working on a project, all time you can find a little piece of the puzzle, and it is you have to see information in the newspaper, in project you are working, see that as information which is related. So it's actually a matter of organizing your information correctly.
Yes.
Now the last question about that is, what are the challenges you have with information, with filing, organizing information? Do you have challenges with that in your business life or in your personal life, or?
Not really. The challenge is that information is nothing if you don't use it, and the challenge is to make the information useful and put it in your work and talk about it or write about it. That's relevant, and that makes it interesting to get more information. If you don't use information, it has no value. You have to process the information and share it, and that's the interesting part, and that's the rewarding part, and that is what makes you eager to get more information, because you see the success you have by using that information. So it becomes, in a sense, addictive to get more information because it's part of your success.
Yeah. Thank you very much on that. I have to tell you that this week, for instance, I wrote 1 hour masterclass, free masterclass, which can be found at www.calmera.nl, and it is about online surveys. So with online survey, it's a free for everybody if you subscribe to our newsletter, and it is about getting information so that how can you get information through an online survey. And on our website, if you subscribe, you will receive updates about Policy in Paradise also, and you will not miss one edition. Mr. Miguel Goede, I have one last question, which is, what is your dream plan?
I want to believe that I'm living my dream, and that is to add value by being myself, and add value and learn a living by being myself. So I have this information, I have this unique perspective, and people have talks with me. I call them Conversations 3.0, and in that moment that you are with me, you can share your questions or your thoughts. I will reflect on them and give you some meaningful advice or remarks, and that we will have an exchange of value and everybody advances. That is basically the dream I'm living. Okay. I'm almost there. I want to believe I'm there, but you're always on your journey.
There you have it, Policy in Paradise. You know, there are dreams in paradise, and Mr. Miguel Goede has a dream. In another edition, we will talk much more about his book, because we would like to invite you again to Policy in Paradise to talk about your book. But now we only want to mention that Mr. Miguel Goede just recently published a book about Curacao 3.0, which is Curacao 3.0 is a small island economy, and it gives perspectives on 3.0. And you can find the book and more details of Mr. Miguel Goede at www.miguelgoede.com. And there you will find also more information about that. Last information from you. Maybe you want to just briefly discuss about the book, what they will get if they.
Okay. First of all, the book is in Dutch, so the English-speaking part of our audience will have to wait. I'm working on another publication, the Caribbean 3.0, and that one will be English. What I'm basically saying is that it is society has software as well. We have the colonial software, that is what I call 1.0. We have the industrial software, and that is called 2.0, and we have the information creative society software, that's 3.0. What I'm saying is that societies that cannot upgrade from the industrial mindset, this industrial software 2.0 to 3.0 will suffer.
Okay.
And the only way to be successful is to, as soon as possible, upgrade society to 3.0. Upgrading society means upgrading individuals, that is education, upgrading organizations, all sorts of organizations, small organizations, big organizations, get them into the information age. And the third level is society as a whole, that is the combination of individuals, organizations, and government, so that you have a society 3.0. Okay. That's basically what I'm trying to explain, the need for doing that and how society can become if you do that.
Okay, there you have it, policy and paradise. Make sure that your paradise doesn't become hell, and that's what Mr. Miguel Goede tells in his book, Curacao 3.0. But I'm very thankful that you just told us that you're going to write Caribbean 3.0, and maybe that's very interesting for all other policy advisors all over the world. I want to thank you very much for listening to this edition. Wait and still be tuned to the next edition of Policy and Paradise. This is Rooney Calmera from Curacao for you, and this time we had Mr. Miguel Goede. Thank you and bye-bye.
See you next time.
See you next time.